Greetings gamers, welcome to Lock's Picks, where I help you decide if a game is worth your time or a waste of time. Today we talk about Dark Souls 3, the supposed finale to the Souls series created by From Software. If you haven't played a Souls game before, they are action RPGs with an indescribably somber tone that flaunt their difficulty, level design, atmosphere, lore, and boss fights. These games make good use of risk and reward systems to keep the player plowing through the challenging content. So let's take a look at Dark Souls 3. At its core, this title is a dark fantasy action RPG. You create a player character, choose a class, kill enemies, level up, and find new equipment. You journey through multiple connected areas killing terrible creatures, traversing dangerous environments, and avoiding traps to reach the game's end, at which point you can start all over again. The player character has a health meter, magic meter, and stamina. Stamina recharges and is used up by attacking, blocking, and dodging. It doesn't recharge while you're performing any of these actions, so a big part of the game is managing your movements and attacks to defeat your foes while dodging or blocking their attacks. It's easy to see how this becomes a game of skill. You also have various stat points which determine damage, armor, equipment weight limit, health, resistances, item drop rates, and how many spells you can equip. You can dual wield weapons, use a weapon and shield, use a weapon in both hands for more power, or even have a shield in both hands. There are also usable items and spells. The checkpoints throughout the areas are bonfires that you can light. Each time you die, you revive at the last bonfire rested at. You can teleport between them to help you backtrack and explore. Resting at these bonfires resets the enemies you've killed aside from the bosses. This means that no matter what, you have to make it to the next bonfire in one full attempt. At the beginning of the game you start out with 2 flasks. One heals you and the other gives you mana. You only have a certain number of times you can use them with each bonfire visit. The bonfire resets the challenges, but it also gives you a clean slate with your healing items. The enemies in Dark Souls 3 drop souls when defeated. You use these souls as a global currency to level up and also to buy, upgrade, and repair items and equipment. If you die, all the souls you have are dropped around the place you died. If you died again before picking them up, they disappear forever, so you have one chance to pick up your souls. This is the main punishment mechanism the game has to force the player to focus, play carefully, and constantly improve. You can find many kinds of weapons and armor to defend yourself. They all have stat requirements to equip, and they all have drawbacks and advantages. Heavy equipment weighs your character down, making dodges slower and shorter. On the flip side, heavy armor helps you survive hits, and heavy weapons hit harder. Some armor might have a specific kind of resistance you need for certain encounters. There are different kinds of equipment for multiple character types. Whether your focus is strength, dexterity, spells, miracles, or some combination of these, there is a weapon for you. All the weapon types have different attack animations and special abilities. You can also upgrade any of your weapons with special items you find. The Dark Souls series has a unique online multiplayer system. If you use a certain item called an Ember, you essentially flag yourself to be online. In this state, you can summon other players to help you out, invade other players' worlds, help other players who can invade it, and vice versa. In these situations, there is always a host player, meaning the other players teleport from their version of the world. Nothing the foreign players do affect their own game, aside from gaining or losing souls. Like with everything in this game, there is a danger using the Ember because it makes you vulnerable to player invasion. Anyone can also leave messages on the ground that other players can read, even if they haven't used an Ember. These are often used to be helpful, sarcastic, exclamatory, or even deceitful. The big ticket this title runs with is difficulty. There's no mistaking it. This game is hard. The enemies are ruthless, do tons of damage, and have plenty of health. Your character is not the practically invincible chosen one most RPGs flaunt. You die a lot, and that's part of the gameplay loop. You learn by making mistakes, which, unlike most games, this one actually punishes you for. It helps you focus, drawing you in and immersing you because if you don't pay attention, you'll probably die. But fear not, the idea is that your skill will grow along with the challenging content, giving you the tools you need to handle every situation. The beauty is that nothing Dark Souls 3 presents you is impossible, no matter how hard it seems at first. The presentation of Dark Souls 3 is nothing short of breathtaking. The enormous, foreboding environments make you feel insignificant. You can actually see other game areas in the distant backdrops. Not only are these beautiful, but incredibly immersive. The themes of fire and death create a macabre ambiance that constantly haunts you throughout your travels. This harsh aesthetic mirrors the challenging gameplay, tying the knot on the whole package and furthering your immersion in the game world. The level design is so dense. The locations you explore are full of twists, turns, hidden paths, items, verticality, and even completely hidden areas. There are surprises around every corner which will always keep you guessing. The enemies are as equally unsettling as the environments. I mean really, look at this baby-headed worm creature. What the hell is that? The enemies that aren't outright creepy are either annoying or imposing. The music is sparse, but what is there is epic. It's mostly used during cutscenes, the main menu, and boss fights. Choirs and orchestras are the main features, pounding in the feeling of ancient lost grandeur and sorrow. Each boss has their own music, whose themes are reflected by the music itself. The sound effects are interesting. They seem to be very harsh and possibly low res. I'm not sure if this was a stylistic choice or a technical choice. Compressed audio takes up less space but also sounds tinny and sharp. This harsh tone could actually make sense in the context of the game because of the difficult gameplay and severe environments. The narrative of Dark Souls 3 is sporadic, but enough to give you objectives to work towards. There are themes of duality, life and death, fire and darkness, risk and reward. The world of Dark Souls is controlled by cycles of fire and dark. Your character is an undead tasked with defeating the Lords of Cinder and dealing with the fading First Flame. Aside from this daunting quest, the real meat of the story is in the lore and world building. Your character is traveling throughout this place after a bunch of stuff has already happened. Through item descriptions, dialogue with NPCs, and your own intuition, you piece together the history of this depressing world. This game doesn't present anything on a silver platter, and that includes the story. You have to actually make an effort for everything you want out of it, which gets you invested and once more immersed. My only problem is that the endings seem underwhelming after all the effort it takes to get there. Functionally, Dark Souls 3 does a better job than its predecessors. That's not saying much. There are finally a decent amount of options to customize to your liking. The launch of the game was a bit rocky, but after a quick patch it turned out great. The UI is informative without being intrusive. The controls are tight, but not without their faults. When I first started playing Souls games, it did take a while to get used to them. I've fallen through floors because of glitched elevators. When you attack next to a wall, your weapon automatically rebounds, but the rules around it seem weird and inconsistent. Aside from a few glitches here and there, it actually seems to be optimized well and runs smoothly. To summarize, Dark Souls 3 feels like an accomplished journey. There are so many obstacles to overcome, and by the end of the game, it's easy to want to keep playing New Game Plus or try a new character build. And while it is challenging, it becomes less daunting as you gain skill with the game. The danger is present, yet fair. Constant risk, but that reward is always hanging in front of you to make it worth it. The world From Software has created is a unique combination of beauty and horror. Everything is connected and cohesive. The gameplay and aesthetics work together with such synergy. The lore is ever present for the player to invest themselves into. Compared to Dark Souls 1 and 2, 3 seems more polished and perfected. I would recommend Dark Souls 3 to action RPG lovers who don't mind a challenge. This game is the perfect example of the player getting more out of it the more they put into it. It takes a lot of attention and careful play, so a bit of patience may help as well. It doesn't spoon-feed you anything, which is refreshing in a world full of mindless ARPGs. Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to share the love by commenting, sharing, liking, or subscribing. I look forward to interacting with you guys. See you next time on Lock's Pigs.